Team, just firstly, so we're going to be looking at phase defence. For myself, I'm a pretty simple operator. Okay, so around my defence, okay, my philosophy is pretty simple, and it's around building the wall. You know, from set piece, it's about protecting that seam, so at the tail of the line out or between the scrum and that line of defence, we want to get that connection really quick and we want to build that wall. And around that phase play, which we're going to really focus on today, again, it's about making sure that wall or that brace is strong, okay? Because ultimately, if we can build the wall around set piece phase in our transition, whether it's turnover ball that we've given away or our kick chase, hopefully one of these three things will happen. We'll turn it over through pressure, okay, through our line speed, through our tackle, jackal, okay, or we'll force the error, or they'll have no territory, they'll just kick the ball away. Okay, so that's sort of the method around the philosophy there. A couple of key things for me: spacing and alignment, which we're really going to focus on. I'm really big on head on a swivel, and that's not just in defence, that's in attack as well. Okay, if we can get that head on a swivel, it gives us a chance to take pictures. It allows us vision to make decisions, yeah? Okay, and then it's underpinned by our communication. So we always talk about, we bring groups in, where can we be better? Oh, communication. Or how? How can we train communication and how can we be better with it? Okay, so at times you'll see me really demanding that I put a 9 into an activity because they're key around communication and defence. Players on the edges, I need you looking up, I need you talking. And it's important we create those scenarios within our training as well. Okay, and then it just comes down to tackle selection. We're not going to look at anything around tackle today because the key thing for us is just around building that shape and working that fold policy. PTA there, a little bit of information overload. Okay, ball's coming from it on that inside. So tackler comes up, makes the tackle, the ball's come from over here. I'm that poacher that's coming around going, can I barge, can I take space, can I get on the ball, or am I just folding and getting into position? And then the adjuster on that outside, and there's lots of different language around it, but that adjuster, okay, can just pull the width for players to fold in. If I was to come in and make a dominant tackle, and the poacher comes around the corner and can see that if I half go at the ball, I'm going to get cleaned off it, I'm just going to take space, I'm just barging and I'm just cleaning through. Okay, and then that'll allow us that turnover ball to play. Last thing from me, what do you think I mean by man versus ball? Do we defend the man or do we defend the ball? Ball, okay. So when I talk about man versus ball, okay, I know we used to, and again, there's no right or wrong, coaches, and I said this yesterday, if that's your structure that you want to use, entirely up to you. I talk about defending the ball, okay, and all that is we get our spacings, we get our vision up the field, and if the ball comes into our channel, we hit and we make our tackles. When we talk about defending the man or the player, sometimes what we get is a defender over here, and then my defender's over there with the long pass, and I pull my width, and we've got 8 meters of space. I'm not comfortable with that, especially the way I defend. Okay? All right, so we want to make sure we get those balanced spacings, which we'll be focused on in this session, okay? And then we can just get up, make our tackles, and work our ruck policy, getting around the corner, rebuilding that wall again. We're going to start off with just a little game to begin with. Key thing here is I just want to have a look at what our spacing is like, our work off the ball. Okay, so if we can get maybe around 8 defenders and 6 attackers, it's going to be low intensity, a little bit of ball movement, so we can see pictures and do our coaching from there. Okay, with the attack, I'm not worried about a support player for now, so if we come forward, you just get body in front, that'll do there. We'll drop down 2, okay, so 2 to the ground for me, so just to a knee, you'll drop there, and then you'll just play away, okay, and then we'll just work off that. Okay, away we go. So if I'm a defence coach, what are the things that I'm looking for at the moment in the defence?
Looking at even coverage of the threat.
Yep, so communication,
alignment.
Yep, so talk to me more about alignment.
Got to make sure our spacing off the breakdown is consistent.
Yep.
Talking to each other, head on a swivel.
Perfect. What comes first? If we're talking about building a wall, what comes first?
The connection between the defenders.
The connection between defenders, fantastic. So we're getting that connection between our defenders, right? Ideally looking for the balanced spacings, that head on a swivel, and then those comms to get off the line. What would we like to see from our defenders around body shape, heights and habits?
Shoulder square.
Yep, perfect.
Feet square.
Yep. Okay, so there'll be conversation around what leg goes up. End of the day, team, what we want is we want ourselves in a position to be able to get off the line quickly. Okay, some coaches will talk about outside leg up so you can see the ruck. Some will say inside leg up so you're not looking at the ruck. For me, getting our hips up the field, getting in the best position to get off the line, okay? For me, I just want them in a position to get off the line as quick as possible. So if it's inside outside, I can turn my head and look at the ruck if I need to. I can use my peripheral vision as that ball's lifted. Get up, get up, get up. But if we've got really good shape there, no reason why we can't blow that whistle and just say, hey, we need better heights and habits. Because what we're doing is just creating this habit of coming up in a line and being upright. We're not going to win collisions. Yep.
Even if we have our spacing down, do you want the defenders to communicate who they're defending?
I want communication there, but for me, it's we've got that wall and we just go forward. And then if that ball gets on the outside and we need to push, we can push. But I just want them going. I just want them to go and get them. Yep. Last thing I want them doing is hesitating and seeing what the attacker's doing. We won't get into the detail around what we're doing in those outside channels. Here we want to build that wall, get forward. Okay, but again, I just want them to take as much space as possible, because if we can keep pushing them back behind that gain line, support's got to come back for them and they can't get that go forward and attack. We just keep bringing that line speed. We hopefully get one of those 3 outcomes we talked around with the kick, the turnover, or the mistake.
Someone is taking too much space ahead of the wall, creating a gap by rushing or blitzing, shooting. How would you change that?
Again, that comes back to your defensive philosophy. If your policy is around that connection, if a player reckons they can get up and put a player under pressure, as long as they make that tackle, okay, and you will get those situations. You want decision makers. If they're throwing that wide ball and there's a couple of players outside, I might have to shoot and try and kill it at the source. Otherwise, I've got a 3-on-1 that I'm trying to deal with. So it comes back to that decision making as well. Really good question. Okay, we'll put, hey, coaches, some really good questions as you started to see what was happening with the game. It was starting to get sloppy. We've gone away from going knees down. We're losing our purpose, okay? So we probably let that go for a little bit longer than what we would like, okay? But we're getting some really good questions from the coaches, which was awesome. What was the purpose of the game at the beginning? What were we trying to do as coaches?
Build a wall. Build connection.
Yeah, build that wall, build that connection. Have a look and see what our wall looks like. Because sometimes what we'll do is we'll go straight into activities, okay? Because I've got this plan in my head that I want to coach this, this, and this. They could be doing 3 things already that I was going to coach them that I don't need to address. Okay, does that make sense? So, defense, talk to me about what we're feeling more so at the beginning.
Confident we had the numbers up, so we know that we can make a tag and put 2 people down. And if we communicated, it wasn't a problem. Gets off.
We had numbers up. We've got to relate it to the game. What did we want from it? We wanted spacing and we wanted line speed, ideally. If we go matching numbers, or even numbers down from a defensive perspective, when our defensive focus is our outcome, we end up just chasing the ball the whole time. Okay, so we've lost our purpose straight away. But I wanted to put 2 players on the ground because normally we'd have a tackler, maybe a tackler assist. We could be slow off the ground, especially in the lower levels. And then just dropping that attacker down to a knee just to slow the ruck speed down so we've got time to get set and then get off the line as well. Any other questions, coaches?
Well, a couple of coaches yesterday talked about just starting on the outside shoulder. Would you start to bring that?
Real good question. For me, age to stage, okay, because there's a lot of detail in getting that defensive alignment. In the ideal world, outside shoulder, try and force them back in. They'll tend to, players, and as we advance up, they'll want to carry into that outside space as well and try and shorten that line in the wider channels. So if we can get on that outside shoulder and get forward and try and cut them off at the seam from trying to push ball wide, makes our job really, really easy defensively. 1 minute break, okay, you can have a little conversation around some of the things that you were seeing. All right, we're just going to set up a little activity in here just to progress this and work around some of our fold policy, okay?